Did you offend the then Prime Minister doing that then? Hold that.
I'm not sure. I'm unsure that I offended the Prime Minister, but I know for a fact that I made some waves because people come back and tell you things, right?
Yeah.
And because of the circles in which I occupy, people come back and tell you quite a bit of stuff. Because I've had the privilege of acquiring quite a bit of social capital across any partisan lines. Like I think I really have some great friends, and I don't make decisions based on partisan dealings. I know, despite what everybody think and assume about me, I don't make decisions like that. And so people, I think, read that realness and genuineness, and they come back and tell you, hey, that one day may offended by what you say or no, and
How you take that? I mean, why I offend? I mean, the way you do, if it show off the man there. Like, wait, at the point where you must say.
I think I throw off a lot of people who are in power.
Sure.
Because how dare me, this legal for no way, for nobody, could just come and say what she wants about the system. I think what offended them, that probably not necessarily why I say it or how I say it, you know, because I audacious. Like, where the audacity come from? Who tell you could act like this? Who to back you up? They're the kind of questions where people afraid for ask, and were probably asked to me.
And the thing is that not only that, but for you that, well, they are my thoughts. Mm-hmm. For you that your age, right? Knowing where you know and you say certain things that like you to bring what awareness is certain to among people. Mm-hmm. Do you understand where I want to go from? I believe the awareness that our next thing where people not like.
People need to know. You know, when I say information is power, that's a real thing, you know. Sure. If you don't know, they could tell you anything. And you could take that and just run with it. This is why, I mean, the age of social media has done us a great disservice, because people don't know how to use it as a tool of power as opposed to weaponizing it against people for very egregious things. So people need to know, people need to be aware. And even if the information that you have been exposed to probably come from a wayward perspective, your job as an individual, as a member of a society, of what we hope is a very civil society, is to question where that perspective come from and why they have that perspective, and draw your own conclusions. I think that's why we continuously elect people when they do well for us. We put them in a position. I think that's why our system remains in this backwater kind of way, that is very, in some ways, and you could see it pop up in different news stories, kind of lifeless, respond. Like, in my mind, and this is our example, when very recently, a politician who has been in politics for longer than I've been alive and you've been alive, say some things against the Governor General, who we know represents the Crown. The government responded at the time, and these are facts, these are not me, this isn't me making things up. The government responded with a press release saying, to talk against the Crown, the GG represents the Crown, to talk against the Crown is essentially seditious, right? Like, what is this, 1979? Like, how you, like, I don't understand how an independent nation could make her really, in that language, right? Like, I understand if you say, man, that the Governor General, the head of state, whatever. I understand that fact. But the language in which it was written was what was bothersome to me. And I'm speaking as a citizen of a nation that I love very much, that I have come back home to, and that I am the first, because my granny born 1945, my mom born 1969. And so I am in a line, the first generation of people who call themselves Belizeans, because before that, they're my British Hondurans. And so I think being able to question those things is what is important to me. Like, I can't shut up when things just don't make sense. Like, you have to question. I don't understand not questioning.
I don't blame you, because then I question everything. Everything. what happened in my life, I question it. I will everything.
I say overthink to a fault to handicap yourself, that's a different thing.
Overthinking is something different, but questioning, that's something entirely in itself. So I want to go from that means that, all right, then, this is what this law said, this is what this said, there were everybody to go with, but why?
Even when we wrote about when they wanted to tax musicians.
Correct.
Precisely.
Correct.
When we wrote to the National Assembly Committee about why that not make no sense.
To make you tax for we art, what we create. You have no insight with it.
Outside of that, why mess with artists around the world, artists and movers and shakers? Why mess with artists? And then beyond that, you know that you have not, this is again not particular to a political party. You see how I constantly make that clarification. Yeah. This is a government, nation of Belize perspective. You have not in the past invested in the art in a way where children know that this is what avenue you could go for make a living and live a fulfilling life, but then you will come behind and want to tax it. Like those things need to be questioned, and if the artists never stand up, and if people from the community never say, hey, that don't make no sense, then may I tax pound the money want to make pound the gigs in a Belize city or wherever I want to go. Yeah. Call me, I have to file for it.
I mean, I like how you explain it like that, right? But a lot of people still don't understand it. And a lot of people still the bandwagon behind some people. We're not going there. Yeah,
I don't want to get to that problem. I feel like I done edgy already.
I love that you look out for the artists and thing I want. I applaud that. But back to it, I want to know what we want to know. Where the article may about why the then Prime Minister, then Dean Barrow, then get offended.
The kids are not calling name. I think, again, I go back to the audacity thing. I don't know, either me were lowly intern. I wasn't even a public servant, right? Like I never established in a public service. So when what I can only interpret as kickback came from a project I was in charge of at the time, I could have only, my young mind at the time was, my younger mind, because I'm still quite young. My younger mind at the time could have only interpret that as what I do, right? When me, what intern, who know they make, at that time I think we were make $500 per month or every 2 weeks. I can't remember the exact number. But what I could have do for offend anybody in the power structure, not just the then Prime Minister, but anybody. Because what I interpreted as the lashback never came only from him, and he never told me anything personally, so I can only make an assumption. It came from other members as well who I just couldn't understand what I do wrong. And as a kid who was passionate within youth development, who still is very passionate, as a kid I couldn't process that properly. It may hurt my feelings really, because I felt I just do something for the country, and it never get met with enough thanks or gratitude, because I don't really need that, because I was doing my job, and that's what worried me, because I was just doing, I never do not know outside of my job description.
I mean, we might get to that, like how you may feel at that time when you know that, all right, and this is why I say this is the backlash. I never know that this is what may happen. What are your feedback at that moment? The whole when you get on news there? I may hurt.
There are several things where I think being attached to the government at such a young age has taught me there's a certain level of resilience, and kind of, I don't know if I could say this, but I've become more unfuckwittable. Like little things don't move me anymore. I was still emotional about it, and I still have to walk through the process because I know they robbed myself of that experience. But at that time, I'm really devastated. I remember calling a mentor of mine like at the ball, because I never understand what I could have done wrong. Because I felt like I check all the boxes, everybody was so happy, and then I get feedback that
Yo, you're the knock on some people door. Yo.
yeah, like, so it never sit well with me, and that's something obviously that I still go back to as a point of not sadness but inspiration, and I try to share that to other young people as well.